Welcome to SFG Top Performance. Charles is out today running Super Grow. We were able to get out into the field, so get some real work done. So it was nice to have some weather cooperate with us and field conditions good enough to be out in the field and get some work done. With us today we have our regular Jason and then a guest speaker, our BASF rep, Joel Spring. Today we're going to go over BASF programs, new products in the BASF pipeline, and talk about tar spot a little bit on with fungicide. So Jason, do you want to kick it off and talk a little bit about the BASF programs?
Sure. Last week, Derek and I had the opportunity to go to Ames and listen to a lot of your programs. And one thing that, as far as SFG and the programs we're using and the rates you recommend, do you want to start there? Talk a little about Liberty to start with. Is 32 ounces enough for our weeds?
Over the last couple of years, I've really liked upping that rate. You know, when weeds are 2 to 3 inches tall, I believe 32 ounces is enough. But how often are we able to get out in those fields when when water hemp is just 2 or 3 ounces or 2 or 3 inches tall anymore? So with as fast as it grows and as many acres as you guys are trying to cover in a day anymore, I like just going straight to 40 ounces of Liberty. The full labeled rate is 43. And we go to that when things are an absolute mess. But I like just recommending a nice straight 40 ounces of Liberty and 3 pounds of AMS. I feel that works really well. And also along with that, I think it's important to use the right sprayer tips. My favorite sprayer tip is actually a High Pro Guardian Air Twin. Kind of used a lot as a fungicide nozzle too, and it's just all about coverage with Liberty. And I believe those nozzles or nozzles similar to those give us excellent coverage, which gives us just better killing power overall too.
Exactly, I agree 100%. And I kind of jumped a little bit ahead there asking you the Liberty question. As far as now, do you want to just start with Liberty, or what is your base program as far as a base to start? And
we're anymore we have different technologies and traits in soybeans that all allow us to use different tools, but with those different technologies, we still need a good foundation herbicide to make those technologies really work well. So from our lineup, Zidua Pro is our number one lead. It's been the number one soybean pre in the state of Iowa the last several years. Just a really strong product. We like to go out with 6 ounces of Zidua Pro ideally before planting, but that product allows us the window as long as the soybeans aren't cracking through the ground. We can still apply that product. A nice mix of 6 ounces gives us 2 ounces of Zidua SC, actually 3.25 ounces of liquid Zidua SC, which would be 2 ounces of the old dry equivalent, gives us 4 ounces of Pursuit and 1 ounce of Sharpen. The nice thing about Sharpen is we can add the adjuvants of MSO and AMS and have really nice burn down and not rely on a dicamba or a 2,4-D product to provide that burn down, which allows you flexibility between traits. If you're going between extend flex fields and less fields or maybe conventional fields, no clean out, just go from field to field to field. So, but it's really important to get a very strong residual out front, and it's a lot easier to keep these fields clean if we keep these weeds from coming up than trying to address the issues after the weeds have came up. So
that's something we've talked about a lot, and we agree 100% that the good solid base down is your key to a good success at the end.
Yeah. No matter what technology we're using post, if we set it up for failure, it's going to struggle. So yeah, we definitely need a good foundation going into the season, and just to be able to to have a nice clean slate going into these technologies. So
okay, and then on the bean side, we have this E3 trait, and I understand that Extend is not something that you sell, but you have another product that's really good. It's called, we like to mix with a Liberty. It's Liberty and Outlook and Zidua as well. But are there any implications with putting the Extend and the Outlook together, and what is the wrong with doing that?
Right now, Outlook and Enlist did not for a couple of different reasons. Outlook did not get a label with Enlist, so we definitely we have good supply of Zidua SC. It is tremendous end season residual. safe on all crops, no rotational restrictions going back to corn the next year. In fact, it's labeled for corn. We actually use it in corn. So it's a nice, easy product, low use rate to throw in. One thing I really like about Zidua is that some residuals, other Group 15s, when you put them out there, if it doesn't rain within the first week, they start photodegrading from sunlight. Zidua doesn't break down very fast. So even after a couple weeks of no rain, most of your active ingredient is still going to be there, which seems like the last couple of years it's either hit or miss whether we're getting timely rains in that post-application time frame. So it's nice to know that the money you're spending with that product is still going to be there, even if it's 10 days or 2 weeks after you apply it. When you get that rain. So Zidua is very long lasting and doesn't break down fast with the rain either. So it's going to be there a long time and help you get through canopy, and that's our biggest deal. We're trying to keep the beans clean till the beans canopy and block that sunlight off from any new weeds coming up. And if we can keep them clean to canopy, we've pretty well won the battle. So.
And Joel, go into a little bit about, you briefed on it, rainfall a little bit. How much rain do we need to activate these residuals or any of the burn down products too, or just about how much rain do we need to be looking at for the BASF products?
Most of ours, if you're looking at a Zidua-based product, I would want 3/4 of an inch. I feel pretty comfortable with. They'll tell us a 1/2 inch, but 3/4 always works better. Zidua Pro, I like when as soon as it's fit to start spraying in the spring. It could be the end of March. If it's fit, let's start rolling. It's got the residual out there. I usually have no complaints when it goes out too early. When it goes out too late and we're getting those hit and miss rains or weeds are getting pretty big by the time we're spraying, that's when I can get some complaints maybe around performance. But if you're going out in the March 1st to April, that product's going to look really good. It seems like the more rain it gets, the better it works. So yeah, and your other Group 15s from competitive products, you're looking at that 3/4 to an inch of rain to get activated. So the outlook, that's where the guys that use that, the 1/4 of an inch of rainfall, 2/10, it takes very little rain to get it activated. So for your growers that are still using just the Liberty herbicide, maybe for on those Extend Flex acres where they're using Liberty Post alone, that's where Outlook would make a nice tank mix with that product. So.
All right, we'll switch gears a little bit. You guys have a lot of good products. You have good soybean products, and you also have very good corn lineup. Do you want to talk a little bit about some of the products that we're using here, like the Armazon Pro and some of those products a little bit?
And, kind of like what we talked about on soybeans, it's always good to have a good foundation down before we make our second application. So, we talked about the Zidua SC and soybeans. It makes a really nice pre-plant option and residual in your corn herbicide program to get it layered out there. Good off you several weeks, very safe on corn, nice low use rate, and has that flexibility for maybe a grower that wants to use it pre or post in corn and soybeans. That jug can go a lot of different ways on there. We also offer Verdict herbicide, which you guys carry for your no-till corn situations. That's a mixture of Sharpen and Outlook. For no-till, it works very good. And for your burn down, for your key weeds, your winter annuals, your mare's tail, your other weeds that came up this fall that are waiting to green up here as soon as it warms up here this spring. And then, of course, our second application, Armazon Pro, mixture of Armazon and Outlook, an HPPD and a Group 15. Outlook just brings consistent activity and activation in that second pass where we may be getting some of those hit and miss rains. And a very strong rate of a Group 15 herbicide to give us great residual to get to canopy and to finish the year clean on that. It's also a very versatile post product, labeled for sweet corn, seed corn, conventional corn. It's a very safe product, so we feel really good about that product and the recommendations around it too.
You bet. Another thing in the corn world that we've been talking about a lot, and Jason and I talked about it on the last podcast a little bit, is tar spot.
Yeah.
In your traveling or in the BASF world, where is tar spot? Are we going to see it in our South Central district, and what do we need to do to manage it?
So tar spot is here, and it showed up the last couple years, but it seems like it showed up fairly late. Shows up the very end of August, 1st of September around here, what it's done the last couple years. You get further into eastern Iowa, closer to the Mississippi River, western Illinois. The epicenter, I would say, would be northern Illinois, southern Wisconsin, northwest Indiana, southwest Michigan. That's the epicenter. That's where it first showed up 6-7 years ago, and it's kind of expanded from there. So it is here. It overwinters in the residue. So it's here. It's going to be here. Definitely top of mind with a lot of growers because it can be devastating if it does show up early. Kind of weather condition driven on that. Cooler weather, higher humidities, where that plant is wet for several hours during the night into the day. But tar spot is not the end of corn growing either. It's not like we're going to have to go back to raising beans on beans to get away from tar spot. We have the tools to be able to manage that. I believe seed corn companies are starting to select more around that in their products here in the next several years. But an application of Veltima fungicide right at tassel provides excellent activity on tar spot and long residual. So don't be scared. Don't be scared of tar spot. Just know that we have the products to be able to manage that. And you guys there at Smith's have the knowledge and expertise around that to be able to get that product on your growers' fields in a timely fashion. So. But corn on beans, it may show up a little bit sooner in corn on corn just because of the residue if it was there the year before, but it blows around pretty easy. Field 2 years ago down where I'm from around the Centerville area had not been corn in 10 years. Had been broken out of hay with soybeans the year before, then was corn, so it was the first time it had been corn in 10 years. Still had tar spot show up into it the late end of August. So, it overwinters around here, blows around with the wind, and the spores blow around in the wind in the summertime. So rotation doesn't really fix that issue. It may buy you a little bit of time, but it does definitely not fix the issue of whether you'll get tar spot or not. So
it's kind of new with the a lot of times we've always done the scouting and whatnot for funding the return on investment to your fungicide for corn. In soybeans, that's been always kind of a no-brainer. Mix it with your insecticide and you get a bang for your buck.
Yep.
Is there any new ideas on or new products or new rates or any new suggestions other than a Veltima or possibly Preaxor in your soybean? Or is that still the go-to?
Yeah, when you're looking at corn and especially if you're worried about tar spot, where tar spot's different than several of the other diseases, northern corn leaf blight, great leaf spot. A lot of those have a short latency period, and what that means is between actual infection occurring and the lesion showing up is what would be the latency period. So a lot of those diseases you're looking at 7 days, give or take. Where tar spot can be 2 to 3 weeks between when the corn plant actually gets infected, but the lesions show up. So with tar spot, we if we feel that we have the right environmental conditions and it's something that growers worried about, we like to get out there before it even shows up. Because once it takes hold, it's in that plant, and it's hard. It's a lot harder to take care of once it shows up, because that plant has been infected so long that there's going to be a lot of activity already going on in that field. One thing that we've seen the last couple of years, that tar spot by itself is typically not detrimental, but it works in conjunction with other diseases. A couple years ago in Western Illinois, when they had huge responses to fungicide, they were looking 50, 60 bushel is what tar spot took from those fields. That worked. Tar spot was in conjunction with crown rot and just poor stock quality overall. They had a really, really, really wet August that brought on a lot of stock diseases. And then tar spot came in and worked in conjunction with that disease and really deteriorated those plants. We've seen the same thing with northern corn leaf blight. When those two, basically tar spot works well with other diseases that are then present and is pretty devastating on the crop. So that's where an application of Veltima fungicide is very good on all the other diseases that we fight in our area, and also provides great protection on tar spot. So growers that are worried about tar spot, we talk about 2 applications, whether that's economical or not. And really, where I see the best is probably just going to the full rate of 10 ounces of Veltima right at first tassel, and putting our best foot forward and getting that product on. So the two pass fungicide it can be hit and miss whether it's economical or not. 1 year it will be, the next 4 years it won't be. So that's where I would recommend just doing, putting our best foot forward, running a full rate of Veltima at 10 ounces right at tassel if tar spot is our biggest worry that year, and getting that product on and getting it working.
Sure. And a little on the business side, Joel, we have a lot better supply of all the BASF products this year. The only thing that I don't think we have as much as we could get is the Veltima piece.
Yep.
So that's the thing. We want to make sure to get the orders in early. If customers are wanting fungicide, or how is supply in general doing?
Like you said, the rest of our portfolio compared to last year, it feels a lot better. Things kind of corrected themselves, and supply on those products opened back up. Veltima is still tight. It's a fairly new product still, and still a few supply issues on our end, accessing some ingredients to be able to make that. So, we'll see about as much, if not a tick more than what we did last year, and really hoping that next year we see a lot better supply on that. So, we talk about tar spot and Veltima, our legacy fungicides, Headline Amp and Preaxor, in multiple university data sites show excellent activity on tar spot. So even with growers that maybe don't come in and plan that application, if they come in June and where maybe they won't be able to access Veltima fungicide, I believe that we'll have access to Preaxor and Headline Amp at that time, and those fungicides, a grower can sleep well at night knowing that those fungicides also provide excellent activity on tar spot and the other diseases that we face around here.
And like Joel said, there's a lot of options we can do for controlling fungicide and controlling weeds. And what's really nice about BASF, and especially this year, once the interest rates went way up again on the business side, they have a 0% interest option. So we can have all the discounts with a 0% interest for John Deere, and control weeds and fungicides without racking up 7-8% interest and that sort of thing.
Yep. Yeah, BASF's writing a pretty hefty check to John Deere to be able to do that, but we believe that's pretty important for our customers to be able to operate in today's environment. So yeah, I definitely utilize that program. Yeah, get your prepaid discounts on and be able to have that plan. I'd say that's the most important thing for your growers out there. Come in and have that plan with you guys early. Being in retail and fighting that battle for 8 years definitely makes things a lot easier when that plan is made in February and March and instead of last minute. So and a tool like John Deere Finance allows a guy to be able to make that plan and not have any interest. So and not 0% interest until next December, December of 23. So.
Yes, it's been a very good program for us, and we utilize that as much as we can. And like I said, we're heavy on BASF portfolio, so make sure to ask about that. Like Joel said, put a plan together. And Jason, do you have any more questions for Joel?
I just have one more quick thing here. You talked a lot about the new products that are coming out. Is there any one in particular that you think is really going to be good for us? At our meeting on last Friday, they talked about a lot of new products. Let me rephrase that. Yeah. Is there one in particular that you think will be a good fit for our marketplace?
I would say one that we have several coming out, but one that I'm excited about, that we have a new burn down product that I'm part of the launch team. It's going to be called Veraxor. It's another new PPO-based herbicide that's going to be tank mixed along with Sharpen. That's going to be labeled for corn and soybeans. We look for registration late in the next year, so I'm not sure if we'll be able to see it next year quite in time. But it's going to basically bring another new AI to the market to help control some of our winter annuals is a big deal for us down here in South Central Iowa. Mare's Tail, Henbit, Pennycrest seems like nature's cover crop that we fight there, and really excited about just the added burn down that product's going to bring along. Another new product that we're excited about for you corn on corn guys that may be starting to fight some of these rootworm issues. We have a new product called Neurisma. New in-furrow insecticide, very safe product, very low use rate, shows great efficacy on rootworms. It's nice, and it's completely new mode of action. It's a Group 30 insecticide, so it's a brand new mode of action in the rootworm fight that we're very excited about to be able to, that we'll see a little bit out in the field this year and a bigger launch for next year. So we have several new tools coming out and, corn, soybean production that we're very excited about over the next several years here.
Sure. Anything else for Joel, Jason, or he pretty much covered all the bases I had?
You covered about everything we had. Thank you for joining us this week.
Yeah. Appreciate the opportunity to be on, and your customers have any questions, reach out to you guys, or if I can help too, be a part of the planning and be a part of the conversation with you guys.
Sure. Well, thank you, Joel, and thank you everyone for tuning in today to this week's episode of SFG Top Performance. We'll be with you again in 2 weeks.